let's go now to our friend Beimnet Abebe from Galaxy Trading. As always, Beimnet, welcome to Galaxy Brains.
Thanks for having me.
I was debating how to start this conversation, and all I can really offer is, well, just like last week, things feel pretty bearish. I guess slightly more bullish because last week we went under 100K to like 98.9. Bitcoin has defended the 100K level since then, but it feels like it's on the ropes.
It is on the ropes, and I think the price action is quite telling. Most notably, Bitcoin moved from like 102K to like 105 based on the shutdown news that we got this week.
That we expected to end.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, S&P and NASDAQ had one of their better days of the year. And it seemed like, crypto was going to keep up or at least get some more support on the back of broader risk trading well. However, that has not been the case. We are now like at or below the shutdown ending news levels, which kind of tells you that one, crypto is trading more idiosyncratically and is probably, has more things that are specific to crypto driving crypto price action and isn't just trading like a big blob of risk.
Yeah.
And then I think that, you have to be aware of the technicals. And, one of the big things I look at, in terms of determining my view for the next like 3, 6, 9 months is kind of like the weekly charts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really big support level at the 50-week moving average. We've been above it for a really long time. And so, if we were to see, basically a weekly close below that level, it would indicate like a move to the 100-week moving average or even the 200-week moving average.
Which I'm assuming are much lower.
It's like 80 and 55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've probably been above the 50-week, if I had to guess, since like, the start of 24 or even fall 23, I would guess.
It's been
We've pretty
really
much been on
long
a straight line. Well,
Correct.
it hasn't felt like a
Yeah.
straight line, but we've been in a bull market objectively since September, October 2023, when the hype for the incoming ETFs really started to build.
Yeah. But realistically, I mean, you've been in a straight line path since FTX bottom.
Fair.
Right? You've gone from 20 to 125K at the highs. Basically, like if you were only investing and looking like on a month-by-month basis, you wouldn't have really felt the volatility. It just looks like a giant TWAP higher.
Yeah.
And so, when you see big technical breaks like that, I do think you have to pay attention. And that is, one part of the story, which is just the technicals, but really like, Bitcoin and financial markets right now, like a lot of it is driven by like attention, right? And what brings attention to a specific asset? Catalysts. We don't have them. That's another thing that brings attention. Really rapid moves to the upside.
Yep.
Right?
Hasn't happened in a while.
Hasn't happened in a while. And even prior to this, like Bitcoin was just, chopping between, 105 and 115 for like a really long time.
Yeah.
And so the malaise that has kind of like, gripped Bitcoin, is really harmful, I think. And then we've spoke about it on last week's Galaxy Brains, but there's a lot of self-reinforcing things that can lead to price moving lower, like the reflexivity with the DATs,
Mm-hmm.
their inability to kind of issue more equity to buy, and most importantly though, it's just like where are the marginal buyers coming in from right now?
Right. We know the DATs aren't really.
Correct.
They're not really buying.
Yeah.
Saylor's figuring out ways to buy more, but it's not nearly at the scale that he was earlier this year. It does, right? Would you say then it's fair to say that risk feels to the downside here, right? I mean, Bitcoin's struggling to stay up above 100. Like at some point, it looks like there's a question. Does it want to go below 100? No one's asking right now if it wants to go above 110. That's not the question in play.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I think this market historically is generally traded towards max pain.
Yeah.
Right. And max pain is, there's been a bunch of ETF buyers over the past since
You're saying
the advent.
people are long.
People are very long.
Yeah.
And what would it take for people's confidence to break down at BTC? I think really all you need is a break below 100. And so I'm just thinking about it like, how do you trade this market? And while I do think that there's room for upside movement, particularly because it's an illiquid market, shorts often get squeezed. And so, my view is that, it's not going to be like a crash if we go lower. I think it's going to be a pretty controlled, like up down environment with a trend lower. It's kind of my base case.
Mhm.
But again, like it really depends on your investing horizon, right? Like if you're focused on the week by week, month by month, it's okay to kind of like have a tactical view like I have, at the moment. I think if you are a long term, accumulator, stacker, I think best to kind of like broaden your horizons and figure out levels where you care to buy.
Yeah.
I think personally for me, like I'd be happy to get filled anywhere below 80K. I would be more than happy to buy some and hold it for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
Uh, but right here, right now, like given the set of circumstances, like it'd be hard for anyone to argue that being flat isn't like a
Isn't a reasonable. You feel like
reasonable
this
position.
this story hasn't fully played out in the near term. It wasn't just you don't think it was just a 126 to 100 move, right? So that's why
No,
that's why you feel comfortable being flat to let the story play out further before you take
correct,
action.
correct.
Yeah.
And I think like in terms of like equities, like you're in the strongest like seasonal part of the year, right? October and November, Santa Claus rally.
Mhm.
And so if you don't see Bitcoin trading well in an environment where the S&P and Nas are essentially back at all-time highs, like that is really, hitting my confidence in this asset. And I would think it's going to be damaging overall as well.
Well, the saga continues. Let's leave it there for now, Bim. I really appreciate it. Bimnet, and to your credit, you've been calling for this for now several weeks. Our listeners will know. So, we just keep. I guess bulls have 80K to defend if they want to keep Bimnet from being able to stack.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Bimnet.
it.
Bimnet Abebe from Galaxy Trading.